morning, everyone, and welcome to Viva Cafe con Leche. I am Lori Monaco, the Badass Buddha. It is sunny out, humid, bleh, but it is sunny. We had some beautiful rain. We've had so much rain that so much has grown. It's crazy. And some thunderstorms, which is really cool. I always love that. But it is definitely summer here now where we are located. Because the Gladiator Guru and I are both in the same state right now. So for a little while, and we're both experiencing. She brought it up with her. I was blaming her this morning that she brought this hellacious weather up here. But anyway, good to be here. We hope that you had a fantastic week. It's a short week, right? We were here Tuesday. A lot of people didn't even come up because I think they didn't realize it was Tuesday. I had to keep asking myself and reminding myself that it was Tuesday and that today's Thursday. So welcome and good morning. Good morning, Milagros. We missed you, my friend. We haven't seen you.
I know, Milagritos.
So that's it. There's my intro. Good morning.
Good morning. Buenos días, mi gente, aquí con la Margarita, your Gladiator Guru. It has been, yesterday I got a text from Tampa about a heat advisory that the heat was going to feel like 110. And then it followed up with a phone call, which was so weird. To stay hydrated. They were giving all these suggestions on it. So I'll take this heat over that heat. So I'm happy that I'm here during that time because it's hot enough as it is over there. So we were going to go from hell's waiting room to the triage with all that heat. So I'm happy that I'm here in Connecticut and just enjoying it. The thunderstorm on, what was it? On Tuesday, right? Was it Tuesday? Yeah. That was like, wow, right? We're driving through Ansonia and out the hills, all the waters are coming down like a grand waterfall. It was amazing.
Yeah. I kept getting all kinds of things on my phone for the thunderstorm, the flooding, the flash flooding, all this stuff. And that's the beauty. That's one thing. Gladiator Guru and I are so much alike in this sense that, the weather can be dangerous. There's no question. When they say flash flood, you're not stupid enough to go park somewhere and go, let me watch it and then watch the water just overtake your car. But it's more of being in awe of it. And that in any moment, nature can decide what it wants to do. And we have no control over it. And all we have to be is at its mercy. And I think that's why that when we respect it and we understand how strong it is and what those thunderstorms mean and respect the sound and what it brings and the rain, that we can be safer. I really feel like we put that out there. Like we will have the awareness to say, I'm going to watch this, but I'm going to watch from over here and not be a part of it, but yet be a part of it. It's definitely mindfulness. Like you're attached, but you're not attached. You're connected, but not attached. And I think especially as I've gotten older and I've gotten wiser and I've gotten more connected, which is really, again, this is all this month. That's what, when we're talking about limitlessness, we're talking about also having that connectivity to higher power, grounding, and to self. And so I've really learned to love this. And yes, I'm making fun of the humidity and stuff, but I think about the animals though that really like that. There's some animals that are like, yes, finally I got my humidity, and they're like celebrating, having a great time. And there's the rest of us that are going, it's too hot, But I think about what I'm grateful for. And I will admit that as much as I like the outdoors, when it is oppressively humid for me, which I'm not a big fan of, I'm grateful for air conditioning. I'm grateful that I have a space to go to that I can pull myself away from that. And I can still open the window and look at it. So I think that's the beauty of it. That's the beauty of limitlessness. And that's what we're going to talk about today is words. We're going to be talking about limitlessness as well as limitedness through words and expressions.
Well, God created the world with words. And if you cannot think of how powerful they are, and you can't take a word back, you can't unring a bell. Milagro, I love thunder. My favorite weather is gloomy days, raining with loud thunder and lightning. That's those are mine. Where everybody's like, "Oh, I can't wait to be sunny to go to the beach." Well, I look forward to those rainy days. It's a connection to my soul. And like you said, yeah, I mean, what is rain? Rain is life. It's like movement is life. Without rain, nothing will grow. And if nothing grows, we can't breathe, we can't eat. So that was great that you said that. I think the animals are so important to us, right? If only we can learn from them. But yeah, words are what we tell ourselves. And it's a whole thing to go into the wording, because when I started saying some stuff to myself, the change is dramatical. Is that a word? Dramatical.
It is for you?
Okay, here it is. It's dramatical.
Good morning, Gail. Gail's on. Good morning, Arlene Gonzalez. And Kathy Reese is on. We haven't seen Kathy in a long time, so we're glad that you're here, coming in from Texas.
Buenos días.
And Gail chimed in on that, and she said, speaking into existence. And that is the truth. That is the beauty of it. You couldn't have worded it better, truly, because that's correct. When we're talking about limitlessness, we are speaking it. Well, no matter what, you're speaking into existence. So would you rather be speaking limitlessness into existence, your power, your abilities, your capabilities, as opposed to limiting yourself by what you say? Because what you say always, what you do always follows what you say. And then that is always going to affect what we hear, because we know that it affects, like everything affects it all. So speak it into existence. I am, especially in present tense. It's okay sometimes to also say I will, because you're psyching yourself up, as long as you can back up the feeling behind it. Like this is a constant argument with personal development people. When person says I want or I will, oh, but that's like future, and that's like telling your subconscious you don't have it. And sometimes I'm like very realistic about it and say, well, I don't. But it gives me hope. And that's the beauty of I will and I want, is it gives you hope. And if you believe in the power of hope and faith, you know that the I will and I want will turn into I have, because that's just the way it works. So I really don't take that piece. It's all about your belief. We talked about the belief system. If you believe that I will and I want will turn into that, then it will. And it does. But if you believe that it's just, well, I just keep saying, well, I want to have that, but you never follow through with that, then it will always stay in that future. You'll always be chasing after it. Like it's just like the term finding my path. I'm finding my path, or I'm finding what's the other one? I can't think of it. It's when you're talking about like seeking my path. It's like I'm on my path. I'm on it. Like I'm there. It's just that each twist and turn will bring something different. So if I'm looking for something specific, then I could say that I'm looking for that, and I'm excited to be on my path, because it's going to bring me into that direction, or at least it's going to show me things that I need to know before I get to that place. And even when I get there, I may say, well, I don't want to be here anymore. I found something better.
And that's so totally to be respected, but you got to honor what you're saying. You see, we hold ourselves accountable to other people more than we do ourselves. And that's where that I'm not, I am. I've never said my name is. I've always said I am Margarita. Because my name is always going ahead of me. People hear my name, they read my name, they see my name before me. So when they say, oh, what's your name? I hear a lot of people always say, oh, my name is, I'm always like, I am. This is me. But talking about the path, absolutely. What I learned during my self-isolation was I limited myself from repeating what I've done all my life. Now, at 53, that was kind of hard to learn all this new verbiage for myself. Discernment was one word that I checked into it. I read up on it. I used it, and I chose how to use it. And that was good. And I wrote about the Healing Boulevard a lot. And then I actually traveled it. And it's a long, winding road that takes you into a lot of dark corners and wooded areas, and then out into this bright, blinding sunlight. And then it's all these little things that work to get you confused, which is life, right? And the twists and turns we take. But by me saying to myself, I have to stay on my path, enough is enough, then guess what? It was a bit harder. It seemed confusing because you reach a fork in the road when you're on that Healing Boulevard that you chose to be on, that you spoke into existence. And then you're at the fork in the road. Then there's this sign. You ever see those signs when you're traveling and it has 50 million wooded things with arrows and colors that telling you, go this way, go that way. And you sit there for a minute and you're like, okay, which way am I supposed to go? This is so confusing. But in actuality, it's not. We just use that verbiage to blame someone else or have an excuse why we're stuck. So this right here is very powerful. I've learned it with how I speak to my body and how I remind her how beautiful she is in the form that she's at. And I did a little TV interview and we were talking about her badass story. And I don't know if I was asked or what, but one of the stories I said that I wrote, my favorite thus far was El Cuerpo de Guitarra. And of course I had to translate, which I'll do so now, the body of a guitar. And that's how I said I've always saw myself shapely like a guitar, but there were many, many times that guitar was unused because the chords popped, the chords were broke, or it had missing chords, which meant, you know, the little muffin top, the little fupa, you know, maybe the flabby arms. But I still saw the beauty of the shape of the guitar. And it's not that I'm making fun of myself. I am actually complimenting myself and accepting the parts that are now with me that I know need to go away. So I'm no longer bullying my body. I'm no longer looking in the mirror and say, oh, I can't wear this. I hate this. And look at how ugly this looks. No, I'm such a beautifully designed package that, like the seasons, I would change. And when we learn to accept that, then we learn to work harder to not change dramatically with all the seasons. You know, so I think that saying, and people are like, oh, we're our knees hurt because we're old. No, the hell they don't. They don't. I'm not old. You know, I was on the phone with somebody on insurance, and then he asked me my birth year, and I'm like, you know, every time that I go through life without reminding what year I was born, I believe I'm 25. And he starts cracking up. This guy cracked up and was like the sweetest thing to me. He's like, all right, Miss Chapman, I don't care what your birth year says. You are 25 in my eyes. And you know what? Not only did I say that for me, because it's how I feel, but I made his day. So whatever, anything was happening. And I think that's the beauty of not limiting ourselves and being our true selves, because we enhance the lives of those around us. When you're mean to somebody, when you have a crappy attitude, you know, you're disrupting their day as well. And maybe they were dealing with something, and then you came in with that limited thinking mindset, and now it's like that tumbleweed is in their yard now. So when we're mindful with ourselves, guess what? We share the love with the world. And we got to do our mantra.
Yeah, and what you just said goes with something that Kathy wrote. So Kathy wrote, sometimes it's just talking to someone about what you want. I have really noticed the energy after I speak about something. Some things fall flat and other things happen in as little as a few days. And that goes along with what you were saying. And it's true. You know, and we've said in the past, though, you want to be careful when you're talking about what it is that you want, or your plans, or your dreams, or your hopes, or your visions, because some people can get in the way. But I will tell you this, that when you are very steadfast on this, again, this goes with this limitlessness. When you believe in your limitlessness, you really don't give a shit what anybody has to say about what you're talking about. So when you're saying, this is what I'm going to do, and this is what I want, and there's always that hater, that naysayer that comes in and says, well, what about this, or what about that? You don't even hear them. You don't even hear them. And a lot of times the reason they're saying it is because they feel that vibrational energy. They feel how connected you are to what you're saying. And it's almost like they can't do it themselves. Well, it's not even almost like, it's because they can't do it themselves. They want to take it down. That's why it really irks me when you see and hear adults do that to children. When a child is excited about what they want and what they're going to do, and they have this dream and this vision, and the parent just, or the adult just shoots it down. And it's like, so what? Let them dream like that. Maybe, and if they say, well, why would you ever want to do that? You're not good at doing that. Let them figure that out. It's to say that they aren't that good. I've seen people where, artists, there's so many different types of art. And to say somebody's not a good artist, my God, there's people that draw stick figures and make a lot of money doing it because they created something within that stick figure realm that was appealing to people. So who the hell are we? So when we think about our limitlessness or our limitedness, we have to also stop and think how that affects other people around us. So not only are we asking you to shift it within yourself to that limitless state of mind, we're also thinking of it in the terms of being that way for other people, the people around you. Stop limiting yourself and those around you, because there will be somebody that's going to listen to you and hear you and say, I want to be on that train. I'm so tired of being on the negative train. I want to be on this train.
And and you can come on board, and the tickets are free. You are the main attraction of your life. You are the VIP. You sit on the damn chairs on stage. And when we get to realize that there is no one like us, there will never be anybody like us, and you will grow into your full garden. A lot of us stay stuck as weeds, and then we blame everyone around us. So we are swallowing that negativity. So all that we exude out of us is just like Badass Buddha was saying. It's the negativity. They feel your energy. They see your light, and them demons get to be angry. And so it is not your job to save anyone, but just a nice word, a kind word, salute.
Thank you.
A kind word can change somebody's life. You never have to see that person again. You were the messenger in that moment. And when you know that you have put a smile, like when I go to the stores and the cashiers, they're miserable and they don't have a smile, I always read their name tag. And if they're just not even looking at me and just ringing me up, salute. I say their name and I say, what a beautiful smile you have.
Yeah.
And they smile. They're like, what? And they start smiling. They're like, oh, I'm just lost in thought. And, and I said, but I knew you had it in you. And the thing is that with something like that, you bring forth something in them. And you know how powerful a smile is? Imagine a word. So that's what we have to do. We have to be accountable to ourselves. When somebody calls you and you're tired and you don't want to get up and do something for you, like you should get up and drink that glass of water. You feel parched, but you're stuck doing something. But then somebody calls, you're jumping, you're getting dressed, you're taking off because they want you to go with them somewhere. Be that someone for yourself. And when you learn to become that important person in your life, then you will speak magical sayings to yourself. You will put spells and talismans all around you, because at the end of the day, you are the love of your life. You start treating yourself the way you would treat your man or your kids, then guess what? You are just you're this sparkle that could never fade. And that's how you pay it forward, by being the best you, by loving the only you that you have.
And it radiates.
Yes. And Arlene, thank you. I love this hat too. It is, I went thrifting the other day and I'm like, who donates a brand new Ann Taylor hat? And it fit perfect. And here we are. Lysol that little bloop, bloop. That's it. Let it sit out in the sun. It's very good. Let me see, there was something else. And Milagros, thank you. And Jesse Melendez, thank you. I see everybody sharing. Amanda too.
Yes, thank you for sharing. Good morning, Leanne. My sister's on, and good morning, my
Yes.
Southern Belle. Wanda is on. All right, so let's set the intention quickly.
Gail said, I tell my grandchildren women are always 25. You know, my daughter's what? She's probably going to hate it if she hears this. My daughter's 37, but she looks like she's 12.
Yeah, she
Dubara
does.
Buddha
She
met
looks
her.
so young. Yeah, she's beautiful.
And she'll tell people she's been, no, but she doesn't say 25. I think she says 27. She's been 27 since she was like 21.
She
Because,
could
you
pull
know,
it
when
off.
you're younger, you want to be older.
Yeah.
And now that she's older, she's like, And you know what? If that makes her happy, keeps her firecrackers lit under her ass, that she's always going to be on the go and moving, then so be it. So I am, you know what? I'm loving life. I'm loving this show. I mean, you know how when the seasons come, real quick, Lord, when the seasons come, you're like, oh, winter's coming. And it's not, sometimes we don't put it, we limit ourselves to having the full conversation of how we actually feel with each season. We're just like, oh, spring's, my favorite time is fall. Why? I love fall because it's like it's telling me goodbye.
I love all of
in
them.
the spring. You know, it's telling me, adios, Margarita, te veo en la primavera. And because it's ready to go to sleep, it's ready to hibernate, it's ready to die, to kill off the excess that it does not need and it carried all summer, to be reborn out of the frozen ice at the end of winter. And that brings hope in itself. So, I mean, words are powerful. Hell yeah. Hello, Wanda. Words are powerful. Exactly. And let's make them work for our benefit.
Okay, so let's quickly we'll set our intention and we'll do our mantra and then we'll get going on even more. We've already started the conversation. So nice and easy, simple. Be intentional today. Set it for whatever it is, but have a purpose.
And do it in gratitude. Whatever you're going to do it with a smile and gratitude.
That's it. And here we go. Get ready for the mantra. Say it loud and say it proud. I am a disruptor.
I am a disruptor.
I am unapologetically courageous.
I am unapologetically courageous.
I am spiritually grounded.
I am spiritually grounded.
I am magically orgasmic.
Ole.
And I keep it real.
All day, no doubt.
Woo! All right. So this is fantastic. So today is, again, we're talking this whole month about our potential, right? So this whole month is possibilities and potentials. So today we're going to be talking about words, things that create limitlessness in our lives, but also we have to be aware of limitedness. And it's the conversations, it's the words, the expressions, and then we will always follow with the action based on what we say. So it all is together. It doesn't matter if you say this comes first, the chicken or the egg, it really doesn't matter. So what happens is that what you say is what you do. And then it ends up what you hear. And then what you hear is what you say. And it's like, it's all connected. So if you do negative things, you will hear and say negative things. If you say negative things, you will hear and do negative things. If you hear negative things, you will say and do negative things. So it's all connected. So is it as simple as changing our verbiage, changing the words inside our head? Yeah. Sometimes yes and sometimes no. But it starts by being aware. We talked about being aware. And it's just thinking about this, like hearing the words come out of your mouth, stopping yourself. When we were talking about kids, what parents saying things to kids or adults saying things to kids and squishing them, I thought about that scene in, oh my God, The Pursuit of Happiness with Will Smith and his son. And they're playing basketball, they're shooting baskets, and he asked the son, what does he want to be when he gets older? And the son says, I want to be a basketball, NBA star. And right away, the father's like, what are you talking about? How could you be that? Because he shoots him down because he's basing it on, you know, his skill set, and like it's unrealistic. And he sees his kid just shrink. He sees the little boy just shrink down and put his head down. And then he gets mad at himself, like for saying that. And he says, no, no. He said, you don't ever let somebody tell you that you can't do it. Not even me. He's like, if that's what you want to do, you do it. Don't ever let somebody. And of course, that's probably not something that actually happened in real life, but it was in the movie. But it still doesn't matter. It's powerful. It's the truth. And I've taken that information from that movie, and I have done that for myself, where I have caught myself saying something to my own child, and then stop myself and say, no, mom's wrong. You don't ever listen to say me or somebody else say you can't do that. You could do whatever you put your mind to, but don't listen to me or anybody else that says that you can't. And so that's the type of conversation we're talking about. And my lovely daughter left her alarm on, so I have to, let me turn it off really quickly.
Let me tell you, it's the limitlessness and the limited words you say to yourself should also be applied to the words that you allow to seep into you. And I know children are children, but I think you also have to what you think and how you feel. You always gotta walk with your five senses. If you are in tune with your five senses, I think you can shovel out the shit as quickly as it comes in, and you can adapt to your life what you want, absorb what you need, and eliminate all the excess. And do you need to learn that? Do you need somebody to teach you? Everybody, different strokes for different folks. Growing up, I told you the joke in our house was, from my sisters and I, that our father was Elvis and our name was Bitch. I was a no good son of a bitch with a black heart who didn't deserve to be born because I'm no good, just like my father. And did those words sting? Yeah. But I didn't say, oh, I was like, so, but my dad isn't like that, you know? So I twisted, and I've always been with the pen and paper. And I penned my first poem at the age of 13, which was published in my first book in 2006. And my mother never encouraged education. And she didn't even encourage writing. Like, what the hell you're writing? What can you possibly write? Those kind of things. She didn't encourage anything. And we didn't realize it back then, but, you know, it was where she came from. But the thing is that I think you have to build such an empire within your soul that it's going to take a lot for people to climb up to the top and knock you down. And if you've never done that, then you can always start where you are right now. Yeah. I'm no different than anybody else. I just, you know, I was forged from the fire. That thing that I wrote, I don't know how. I have a lot of protective energies around me. Always have known that. I'm sure we all do. You just got to tap into it.
I think we all do, but you said the key word. You've always known that. That's part of limitlessness. It's the rest of us. We're born unlimited. We're born with possibilities and potentials, but then we believe. It's all about the belief. You believed yourself to always, you were born with that sword in your hand.
Yes.
And
I was taught how to use it.
Right. And then I was brought up completely different, but I was taught to not be that way, like to not to not fight, to blah blah blah. And so but that was like kind of my downfall, because there is nothing wrong with standing up for yourself. If somebody is getting in your way of who you are and they're putting you down, you have every right to defend yourself. And it took me years to figure this out, as it took me to adulthood. We all have it within us. We just have to believe that we can do that. And that's that limitlessness.
But when you believe, when you decide, okay, mi gente, because there's a lot of trainings out, there's a lot of workshops, there's a lot of everything. And you can listen to everybody's voice, give you all these kind of information, but everything you need The only place you have to inquire is within.
Yes.
Because you have all of that sabiduría. That wisdom is dormant within you. We are all born as a package. We come with instructions within. You're not going to have it tangible reading it, but it's within. That's why I said I am no special delivery that was dropped here in the year that I was born. But you see things when you are involved with your five senses. You have that insight. And fine, some of you thought it passed you by. It's in you. And I think now you're listening to what you're listening to. It is because it is time for you to shut out the world and introduce yourself to yourself. That is where you find the most deepest, richest, most wisdom-filled individual that's going to teach you everything you need to know from this day forward. And you have to open up and you share with people and you let them share with you. It's a learn. I'm going to learn today because tomorrow I got to teach. That's the cycle. That's the only cycle. When people speak about abundance and you're putting all these manifestations out there, money comes, money goes, I am rich, I'm the first millionaire in my family. Before you start talking only about money, write the word abundance in the middle of a page, in the middle of an empty page. I've been writing so much, I don't have empty pages. Take a page and write the word abundance around it in the center. And then draw the lines. You know how they have those lines, like the pie thing? What does abundance mean to you? Because to me, it means freedom. Abundance, to live abundantly for me, it means that I'm going to find joy in every destination I reach on my journey, because every destination is, for every beginning, there's an end for new beginnings. So I might land here, but I know that I am a traveler. I am that nomad, and I'm going to go back out on the road. And then wherever I land, I'm going to meet people. I'm going to learn from them, and I'm going to teach them. So to me, that's living abundantly, because I get to meet people from all walks of life. I get to listen to ancestral stories, which just fills me with so much joy. And then, of course, we need some coins in our pocket to get from point A to B, but how much do you really need? So do you want a full bank account, which means you got to stay focused on working, or do you want to have the freedom to live with the amount of money you have? And maybe it's just enough, but you know what? What is over? What is not? What is enough to you? So that's why write the word abundance and figure out what does it mean to you, and then you can start off on your journey. Everybody's journey is different. People want to feel secure with the bank account. I just want to be able to have my knees not hurt or riddled with arthritis, because I love walking. And right now, just going up and down the stairs in my sister's house, it's a hassle for me. Going down, I go one leg at a time. Coming up, I feel like my knee's gonna burst. So, but I'm doing it. I'm doing that 10 times a day. That has been my exercise. Why? Because with arthritis, you gotta move. Why? Because movimiento es vida. And with arthritis, you gotta keep moving. But what I'm telling you is, never limit yourself to what people, places, and things tell you. Never. If you're going to learn from the badass Buddha, that's why we are on here. If you're going to learn from me, from Gail, from Milagros, who's always sharing, I hope she's still on. You know what? That's why a tribe consists. And you ever wonder why certain people take to the tribe and certain people take off? Because those people there collectively have something to teach that is very powerful to the new people coming in. So never stop commenting. All of the tribe members that have been with us forever, and those that have been with us for months now, you're here for a reason. We're here for a reason. As a collective, we're here to teach something very important that you're not going to listen to or watch on any other podcast or video. And I am never limiting myself to say that I am secure in saying that, because my voice resonates differently than any other ones. The badass Buddha's voice resonates differently because she has a small child. I have small grandchildren. So let's learn so that we can teach in a wisdom-filled baseline and keep spreading love and spreading limitless. Let's say it, badass.
Limitlessness.
to everybody we encounter, because we never know whose life we're saving in that moment that we're sharing
That's
a
the truth.
grain of joy.
That's
Go
the
ahead.
truth. Find the joy in being you. That's the whole purpose of this. When Gladiator was talking before, she had said this, and I just wrote it out. You must look within and sit quietly and learn about yourself. You must take the time for yourself. Like, you can't sit there and look outward. I mean, you can learn outward. Sometimes when we don't really know ourselves yet, we have to experience the out. Like, we have to read the books, listen to the podcast. But when we truly still don't know who we are, because I've fallen into this, in my journey, I was reading the books and I was learning about myself, and it was great. And I started to really fall in love with myself. But then I started to feel like I wanted more and I didn't know how to achieve it. So I started to learn more, and I got very influenced by outside sources to become something that I was not. And if I fell on my face as a result, like it really threw me off my path, like it really did. And it's taken me 2 years to really culminate into what it is, what was my goal all along, what was my like I'm moving towards my destiny, toward the path. I'm back on my path, let's put it that way. So you have to sit within you and really look at that. And you can observe your surroundings. There's nothing wrong. You have to observe your surroundings. You have to listen to self, but you also observe your surroundings. And it does start with, wow, I don't really want that. Like, wow, I can't do that anymore. Like, but you don't focus on that. The energy comes into, if I don't want that, then I must want the opposite. If I can't do this anymore in my life, or I can't have this in my life anymore, then what is it that I want to have? What is it that I can do? So words are really important. So I jotted down a few things, and I made a list of limitlessness words and limitedness words, or expressions, really. So with limitedness, you're playing the victim, where limitlessness, you're playing the victor, or you're being the victor, you're living. And I would, at this point in my life, much rather be the victor. I've played the victim too many years. I've even got caught up in playing the victim a couple of times within these last couple of years. And I don't want to be that person. That was so not my path. I had gotten off of it. So enough of that story already. I want to be the victor. So I had to actually look at that and say, what do I need to do in my life to become that limitless person? I need to face certain things that I haven't wanted to face, and it's time to let them go and move on. So things like I need to, or I have to, whereas limitlessness says I get to, right? So we've said that, we've had that expression on here before recently. Limitedness is I should have or could have, and limitlessness says, what have I learned? Limitedness says, why me? Limitlessness says, why not me? Limitedness says, I can't do it. Limitlessness says, I can do this. Limitedness says, or limitlessness will say, I can do this, or I can figure out a way. I'll figure out a way. Limitedness says, I'm incapable. Limitlessness says, I'm capable. Limitedness says, it's too late for me to learn. Limitlessness says, I will learn it. Limitedness says, I'm too old. Limitlessness says, age is just a number. Limitedness says, there's no point. Limitlessness says, I'll figure it out. Limitedness says, of course, this happens to me. Limitlessness says, I'm trusting in the process. Limitedness says, I have no choice. Limitlessness says, I have choices. Limitedness, I'm almost done. Limitedness says, it's all their fault. Limitlessness says, it was my responsibility. Limitedness says, I won't. Limitlessness says, I believe in myself. Limitedness says, it will never happen for me. Limitlessness says, I have faith. Limitedness says, I made a mistake. Limitlessness says, I made a bad choice. Limitedness says, why bother? Limitlessness says, I'm still moving forward, and I'm looking forward to tomorrow.
That was, I love those things. I read them all the time. And it's the pros and cons of life. Where can they find that at if they wanted to?
I'd have to type it. I wrote it myself. I didn't
Oh,
actually
okay.
look that one up. Yeah.
I think that when you when you have the pros and cons, you should always write the pros and cons down. The badass Buddha and I have that conversation all the time. Like, what are the pros and cons of doing this, or being there, or listening to this, or behaving that way? What are the pros and cons? Because I don't got to put up with your bullshit or anybody else's because you're feeling some type of way, and you shouldn't have to with mine. The sensitivity that's going on in this world, it is blinding people from reaching their full potential. They're so stuck in that victimhood, in that, oh, but he hurt my feelings and I'm not going to cave in, and my pride and all of that. It's just be. And when you just be, you can accept what you need to work on. You can accept yourself where you're at and know, you know what, I got to vibrate at a higher frequency than I have been. You don't got to use the words, oh, I've been soft, I've been weak, I've been pathetic. You don't have to use that for yourself. You just remind yourself, I'm vibrating at a very low frequency to where I've become this 2-year-old throwing a tantrum in the middle of the grocery store. And that's not who I am. What are the pros and cons of me to continue behaving this way? You're going to remove a lot of people that care for you from your life, because who wants to deal with that all the time? Because you don't want to face the facts that you need to eliminate people, places, and things that don't make you happy. What do you want out of life? I just want to be happy. I just want to do what the hell I want to do that concerns me. I want to be able to go wherever I want to go.
Yeah, I have to say.
And not have any restrictions or have anybody say, oh, you think you're all that? You're traveling. You're always traveling. You're doing this. Why would you do that? You know what? I don't give a fuck what you or anybody else think. Because I was married at 16. I was a mother at 17. I was a single mom at 18. I was a mother again at 21. I raised them. They're in their 30s now. Then ended that relationship, my son's father, and then I'm in another 7-year relationship, and then I meet my husband. I think, okay, I'm getting married in my 40s. Everything, our kids are grown, everything's fine. Then he gets ALS, and then I'm there 6 years being a full-time nurse ratchet and shit, right? And then he dies. Then I start traveling.
That, yes.
And then a couple months later, right when I come back from Asia, I'm told that my mom's sick. So there goes another 4 years of my life. I'm in the prime of my life. Think about yourselves. I'm in the prime of my life. I don't owe anyone anything. I am going to choose to dance, roll, walk, skip down my road. That's my path. And I'm still going to be sharing empathy with people. I'm still going to show up for people when they need me. I still have here the compassion, because the compassion is sewn into the tapestry of my soul. And no matter what, I'm still calling my former coworkers and checking up on the residents that I had. I just had a conversation with them yesterday, because it is hard to separate when that compassion is there. Never lose who you are. Just do the pros and cons. That list that the badass Buddha just read is beautiful, because it does keep you in check. And I don't care how old are you, how smart you are, how rich you are, how much devastation you survived, the tsunami you swam through. We all need a pros and cons list, because in this moment, we need to be shaken up. Oh, shit. Yeah, I kind of went to the cons list a little longer than I should have.
Well, and we need to call ourselves out. That's what we're doing. We're calling,
yes.
like limitlessness means when you make that excuse of saying why you can't do something. Oh, well, my kids are still in school, my this or that. Well, what does that mean? You can't travel because your kids are still in school? I mean, I have a soon to be 10-year-old. She'll be 10-year-old in less than a month. And we're moving. Like, we're out of here. We're going. I can't get out of here sooner. I wish I could, but there's certain things that I have to take care of first. And it's one of those things where I'm going, like, and she's thrilled to be going. That's the irony of it, because she's not afraid for new adventures. And I'm very grateful that she has grown up in a way that she's not looking at this is the end and I'm never going to see or talk to these people again. Everything out of her mouth is, that's all right. I'll just call them online. I'll just talk to them online. This kid has so many friends. You would think that she would have the mentality of, oh, well, I'm never going to see these people again. She'll find a way. They're either going to visit her or at some point she'll visit them, but she's not even talking about visiting them. She's just talking like, well, I'll talk to them.
I'm going to stay in touch.
Exactly. And the thing is that when we say things like, oh, well, I don't have enough money. You don't have enough money to travel. Okay. Where are you going that you need thousands of dollars? Can't you just go, what it is? It's, you have to be clear. Okay. Like, this is what I love about my sister, and I'm the same way. I don't care where the hell I go. I could sleep I don't like sleeping on the ground, but I could sleep in a tent. I could sleep in a hostel. I could, like, it doesn't matter to me. I could sleep in my car because my sister does that as well. To me, if I could get in my car, pack it up, even with my kids and dogs, and if we don't have a hotel room, first off, I know this to be true about my youngest one. She wouldn't give a rat's ass. We would just make it comfortable and would sleep in the damn car. She wouldn't care. The middle one probably is a little bit more, particular. Like, she'd want to stay in a hotel. But if I said to myself, I have a limited budget, I just have enough to really spend money on gas. I got a tent. I've got air mattresses. I've got blankets, and I've got things, pillow. Just take them. Find a place to go. Just hang out. Put a tent up. But there's people that are like, well, no, I want a 5-star hotel, and there's nothing wrong with that. But what you have to do is then create the money that's required for you to have that. So don't make the excuse and say, well, I can't because I don't have enough money. For what? If you don't have enough money for the lifestyle that you want, then create that lifestyle. Put that out there. Don't limit yourself to say, well, I really want to do this. I'm not saying I wouldn't love to travel to a place one day and fly first class and have like a 5-star hotel and have all this like pampering. That would be fabulous. That would be fabulous, especially in certain areas where you're going to be in the plane for like 15 hours. Hell yeah, I want a little cubicle to myself where I could just lay there. But that is not going to stop me from doing smaller trips, little things. I'm not going to sit there in my head and go, well, I really want to go here, but I don't have the money, so I'm just going to kind of wait and save. My thought is, I want to go. What I said to myself was, I want to be an adventurer. That's a pretty broad statement. I mean, it could be anything. I was an adventurer in my 20s. I lost it in my 30s and 40s. And when I hit 50, I said, I can no longer do this. I want to be that adventurer. I'm longing to be that adventurer. What does that mean for me? What it means for me is not the same as maybe what it means for Gladiator Guru or somebody else, but I define it. And then I'm not going to limit myself. If my kids say, well, I really don't want to do that, I'll say, okay, then we got to figure someplace for you to go because I want to do that. I'm not telling you to do that. I'm not forcing you. All I'm going to ask of you is that maybe have an open mind and give it a try. And if you don't like it, then you know. But if you do like it, then now you know.
You learn something about yourself.
Correct.
When you don't try new things, you don't learn new things. You know how many people I've said, oh my God, this is so good, try it. I don't like it. I say, oh, when and from where did you taste this? Because different restaurants, they have different tastes of stuff. I never tasted it, just looks nasty. How limiting is even you allowing your palate to dance? Like, your tongue likes to taste new things or rebuke them and spit it out, but give it the opportunity. Because your palate sends so many messages through your body, through your mind. It tingles you or whatever. You learn something. So when I meet people like, no, I don't like that. Get that away. I don't even want to. And they've never tried it. How limiting are you to yourself? So if you've done that, what else have you limited from yourself? And then get mad because you see other people doing it. Oh, how could they do that? Let me tell you something. Every vacation I've been on, I've been pennies and a prayer. Pennies and a prayer. I get the tickets. I save up as much as I can, and I go. I never have to have a set amount of money because then I would have never traveled back then in the day. But let me tell you, as the badass Buddha said, she was adventurous, and then in her 30s and her 40s, she stopped. Let me tell you, I've lived. I mean, I collected money at 15, tried to run away, all that kind of stuff. I've always been an on-the-go type of person. And throughout all my relationships, until my husband got sick and I cleared up some of my stuff, I always had a backpack, not a backpack, a duffel bag under my bed, ready to pack up and get the fuck out of town. One day, my kid's like, just leave already. Because I felt so trapped, so chained. Like I could not verbalize because I didn't know what the feeling was, but I knew I had to be doing something. I needed to be somewhere. And I never allowed that feeling, that thought, whatever it was, I never boxed it up into the darkness. It was always there. That's the gypsy spirit within me. And she just grew and grew. And what she was saying about she could sleep anywhere, you know what? I don't care to sleep in expensive hotels. And I think maybe because of my experience in sleeping in a room with 3 people or a room with 500 people on a bunk bed. And I get what she's saying, because you know what? It is the thrill of a lifetime when you allow yourself to just be. And sometimes, most of the time, people only do that when they're on vacation. So learn who you go on vacation with. Learn that sometimes when you go away, it's to do shit. You don't need an itinerary of 50 activities in a day just because you're in a new place. Sometimes you just want to walk through the villages and breathe in and take in all that is in that part of the world. The people, the smells, the colors, the way they live. Because it either shows appreciation or it makes you grow your vision. But you can't do something without knowing, without having that gumption to say, I really want this. So there's people who've been writing, I'm sorry, Gail, it is an integration that transformation happens. Remove the word I can't from your vocabulary. That's one way you allow, my children and my grandchildren were never allowed to say I can't in front of me. When my kids were little, I can't. I said, can't means you won't. And if you don't move your ass, you're going to, so they learned that can't meant that they're never going to reach it. And then my grandkids are the same way. And now my great nephew, he says it a couple times. I said, what does can't mean? He's like, I won't. So yes, I agree with you 100%. I've never been Gail, that.
This is important that Gail wrote. So, and because we talk about this too, but we can't say it enough. So Gail says you also have people you know on the way offering. So because she wanted to go to Colombia, she's putting that out there. So guess what? A friend of mine just invited me to stay with them in Colombia. That's the beauty. Like if you say, I want to go see the pyramids in Egypt, you put that out there, you write it down, you talk about it, you look at pictures of it, you see yourself there. And the universe always conspires. The universe will conspire to do what you're asking it to do. If you're conspiring negative stuff, the universe always gives you what you want. And the beauty is that we're like proud of it. Not the beauty, but we're proud of it. See, I told you this was going to happen. I so don't want to be around those people anymore.
Because they feed their demons.
Sick of being around those people. And I have one particularly in mind that I am so happy to be getting away from. That's always the conversation. See? This is, or futurizing how bad something's going to be, or it's going to be a shit show. It's like, why put it out there? But in my head, all I keep saying is there's no point in saying what needs to be said to this individual because they are not hearing it. That is their path. They want to stay in that victim limitedness state of mind. My goal is to make sure that all those around that are hearing this individual say this are going to be given something else in their head, that I'm going to flip it and say, when we do that future talk, we always make ourselves right. So why not make our future talk more positive and then make ourselves right, but in a positive way? Like Why not? Like they'll put, take the leap into your dream. Just think about it all the time. Put it out there. This is what I want. Feel it. Here's what I want you to consider. Take a moment this weekend or today or whatever to think about the one thing that you've done in your past, like one really, really great thing. I'm talking about in your past, not like recent past. I'm talking for those of us that are, the more mature 38 and 25-year-olds. But years ago when you were actually those ages, like the 25-year-olds, the 20-something-year-olds, think of something really great that you did, that you blew your own mind about, that you said, you look back and if you tell the story, you say things like, I can't believe I did that, or that was so cool when I did that. And then I want you to ask yourself this, what happened? What happened to you? What made that person so much like that then? And then how did you become the person you are today? Now, this is more specific to people such as myself. Gladiator Guru was a little bit more, she kept doing. But for those of you out there that followed the path that I was on, where, you did stuff, and then all of a sudden there was these like decade or 2 or 3 that you just existed. And then you finally are waking up, or you woke up to say, God, what the hell did I just do with the last 10, 20, 30 years? So ask yourself, why did I let myself slip away? Why did I get rid of that spirit and that positive person who wasn't afraid to try things? And don't harp on the why did it happen. Acknowledge it and then say, okay, now what am I going to do about it?
That's the key word.
Feels right to me. Like if you looked at it and said, I don't want to be this person anymore. I want to be this person that is not afraid to take chances, that is going to try, because I know that I'm so resilient that if it doesn't work out, I will figure out a way, or that wasn't meant to be, and I'll move on to something else. What is it going to take to be that person? You've got to make that choice, or do this. Okay. We're not trying to make you feel guilty here. If you look at your life and you say, I really miss the old me, and I really wish I had done other things, and I have limited myself over the years, but I think I'm okay with this, then you're okay with it. Like, just in other words, are you happy? Do you feel fulfilled? Because if you are really not happy, don't lie to yourself. Say it in Spanish. Say it again.
Nunca te engañes, because that is the most powerful question you can ask anybody. Exactly. And thank you for bringing it up. Are you happy?
If you are not lying to yourself, then wonderful. If you say, no, you know what, I actually do like my life this way. It's kind of boring, but it is, but beautiful. Don't be something that you're not, but ask yourself, what is your real truth? Ask yourself, am I lying to myself? Am I really happy? Do I really feel fulfilled, or do I feel this lack? And I'm going to tell you, that lack will never go away. That pit right here and here will never leave you. You will live your existence for the rest of your life. And then you will get to that ripe old age where you say, I wish I had done this. I could have done this. And then you're going to be giving the advice to younger people. Don't ever let your years slip by. Don't ever do this, because you longed for it.
Yeah. But you got to know who you are, to know what the hell you want, and then to know the power behind your existence, that you can take the steps to get there without listening to everybody around you. I believe in people, places, and things. And people, places, and things, not everybody deserves a VIP seating in our lives. Sometimes we don't gotta eliminate them. We just gotta put their asses up in the nosebleed sections of our lives. And when you can determine who that is, who gives a shit, who's gonna accuse you of all this stuff, be upfront and says, yes, you have a lot of traits that affect me, and I love you, but I can't be with you all the time. Just be that type of way. I've been saying it. Kathy said she wants to win. Go ahead, be the contest queen and win it. Gail, whatever part of Colombia you're going to, it's going to be beautiful. But you know what? I told my son I'm going to die broken naked, just like when I was born. And, you just hit something with me, because my dad, when he died, I asked him if he wanted to be cremated. And he said, I mean, no, not me. Don't burn me. He's like, bury me naked. The way I entered the world is how I want to go out. And, the funeral director was like, I never had a request like that. I'm like, well, there's always a first for everything. And I saw in his face like he didn't want to, but I said, you know what, give me his clothes. He goes, you can't do anything with them because the embalming fluid. I said, I don't. I want you to give me his clothes. When he gave me the bag with all my father's clothes, I knew that he followed my wishes, and then I gave it back to him to burn. Because I need that. Like when I order extra extra shot of espresso in any coffee shop I go, I said an extra shot of espresso on the side, because many times I pay for something, it don't taste like it. Because that's my confirmation that I am getting exactly what I asked for. So you know what? That exactly, I will die broke. And because I'm going to enjoy this one life that I have. And I'm not going to use my kids or my grandkids or my lover or my significant other or my circumstances as an excuse to live mediocrity. That's just not part of my vocabulary. I'm not going to blame people and say, well, I can't right now because, you know what, pack them up. I bet you're teaching those kids how to be liberated from things, from situations, and just exist in their truth. And you know what? Life is not hard whether you got money or not. People who have all this money, cars, and houses are the most unhappiest motherfuckers you want to see. And then you have broke people who know how to share the little that they have. I've lived it. I've seen it. I've watched it in movies. I've read about it in books. We're talking about it here. If you stop lying to yourself and be the best version that you can possibly be in this one life that you have been granted, you're a millionaire. You're a gazillionaire.
Can I read a quote based on what you had just said? I've read this quote before, but this is from a woman named Maya Mendoza. No amount of security is worth the suffering of a mediocre life chained to a routine that has killed your dreams. And nothing, and that's the illusion anyway, because there really is no security. There really is no what you believe to be secure, right? All these, like, we keep we could leave it sort of on this, but the fact that you keep hearing in the news that the dollar is not doing too well, that it's going to crash, that things are going to happen, blah blah blah. If you have all this money saved, what if it's all gone? And people, well, it's not really going to happen. It's not really going to crash. It's a possibility. Just like with anything, it's a possibility it won't. If there's a possibility it could. The thing is that for those people who have saved up all this money, they have all this money invested in retirement, they feel secure. It's a false sense of security because
why?
It can be taken away.
How?
And then what are you left with?
Because you're putting all of your worthiness into someone else's hands. You know, that house that you idolize, that you spend less time in because you're too busy working outside to pay for it, will burn. Those photos that you cherish more than the living beings around you will fade. Those favorite jeans that you spent $250 on that you want to wear all the time, you will outgrow them. Your shoes will become tattered. Everything in life outside of you has a limited amount of time to be a part of you. You are with you to your last breath. And thank you for bringing that analogy up. We believe, I've been listening to a lot, and people are like, oh, you're this, you're that. No, I like to see through things. I don't look at them because things aren't always what they seem.
Amen to that. Whew.
So you see something, you observe it, you take a mental picture, snap, and then you do whatever you did with that frog in 7th grade until you see it at its completeness, and then you can say, is that for me or is it not? Because you, there's no other. I mean, if we're going to have a limitless word today for you to take and put in your back pocket, is that you are the best you the most powerful you, the most intelligent you, you're the biggest bank in your life. You have all those gold stacked up inside of you, but you're living poorly. Leave the fear, put it outside the window, reach back, go one of those bricks of gold and shower yourself with the love that only you have for yourself. And if you can't do that, you can't expect anyone else to do it for you.
Amen.
Be limitless with your spirit. Dance with your soul. Awaken the mind and open your heart. And if you can't do that for you, mamita, then you know what? Sorry.
Well, with that, we are at the end. Thank you for indulging us and staying on some extra time. Have an absolutely wonderful weekend. Be with us next week. Next week, we're going to focus on the limitless part, the parts that like how big is your butt, getting in your own way. I can is I won't. We're gonna be in your face about it. We're also going to be talking about the limitlessness, how to flip it. But that's the point. And then from that point going forward, we're going to talk nothing but limitlessness. We do have to address that limiting belief system again, because the
pros and cons list should be read every day, every show in July, because it was that strong.
I will. All right, my dears. So thank you so much. Be in my face. That's what Gail says. And that's right. Because that's the only way, is to just to the point where you don't want to hear it anymore. And if you don't want to hear it, that means that's what you need to hear.
Yep, exactly. But real quick before we die, Iritza writes, and when I die, I'm not leaving you kids anything. So take my advice, remember my words, my laugh, and my love. In my book, if I ever get to write it, period. That's it. We leave memories. Like when my son used to get so depressed when he didn't have money, it wasn't a pay week. I'm like, kids don't care what you buy them. They forget that piece of toy. They eat the ice cream, spill it all over the damn place, but they'll always remember the walks you took on the beach, the seashells they collected, that you collected together. You know, the scraped knee when you're training them how to ride a bike. Those have no cost to it. You know, you have to be willing to pay the price to carry the cost of those memories. And it's not about money. It's about what you put into it, because you are so much more than a dollar sign. And with that, we are off.
Have a beautiful weekend, everybody. And from the Badass Buddha, remember, be you, be real, and be extraordinary.
And from the Gladiator Guru, mi gente, remember to breathe in the beauty and breathe out the bullshit. Namaste.
Namaste.